For this video, we will be doing lesson 6-2, where we look at proportions. So a term that's going to come up a lot is going to be cross products. And what that means is that we're going to be multiplying in a crisscross pattern. So if we have a fraction, we're going to multiply the top of the first fraction by the bottom of the second fraction, bottom of the first fraction by top of the second fraction. Multiply. We've been using a similar pattern to simplify things, but when we're talking about cross products, we're going to be talking about multiplying in that cross pattern. So in a proportion, the cross products are equal. So something is considered in proportion or proportionate if the top of the first fraction times the bottom of the second fraction, so see here they have 6 and 12, so we're going to do 6 times 12, if it's equal to bottom of the fraction times top of the other fraction. So if I look at this, 6 times 12 is 72, 9 times 8 is 72, so they both equal 72. So this set of fractions, 6 over 9 equals 8 over 12, is proportionate. They are proportional. They equal each other if you crisscross multiply. Okay, on this one, they have A times D, and then the other direction would be B times C. Okay, a proportion can be defined. It's an equality of two ratios. So if we think about what that means, ratios, we were making fractions when we were doing ratios, right? And then an equality of two ratios is if I multiply in that crisscross pattern and they're equal, it's going to be an equality of those two ratios. The cross products of the proportion A over B equals C over D. So again, you're just doing top of the first, bottom of the second, times bottom of the first times top of the second. Okay, so in that crisscross pattern. Those are the cross products for this proportion. Okay, so there are two methods that you can use. We're only going to use method 2, so go ahead and cross this one off and skip down to cross products. So we are only going to use cross products for this. So first things first, you have your two fractions. So you have 2 over 7 equals y over 14. If we do the cross products, we're going to say 2 times 14, right? Because we're going this direction. And then we're going to have 7 times y. 2 times 14 equals 7 times y. So 2 times 14 is 28. And then we have 7y. To get the 7 by itself, we're going to need to divide both sides by 7, right? Because then we can go top and bottom, it crosses off. And all that's left is y on that side. 28 divided by 7 is going to be 4. Okay, so 2 times 14, we got 28. We had a 7y to get y by itself so we could have our answer. We divide both sides by 7 and we get 4. Then we can check ourselves if we want to. So we could be like 2 over 7 equals y over 14. Except instead of a y, we're going to put 4. 2 times 14 and 7 times 4. 2 times 14 is 28. 7 times 4 is 28. So then that means that our answer was correct because by putting a 4 where they had a y, we got the same for our cross products. Okay, so that's if you think your answer is off, you can always check yourself doing that. Okay, when you are ready, go ahead and flip your page. Part of it's going to be solving for the missing number like we just did, and part of it's going to be, is this a proportion? Like, are these two fractions proportionate? So some symbols that you'll need to know. When we're not sure yet, we're going to say, let's say not sure. we're going to have an equal sign that has a question mark above it. If they're not equal, you're going to have a equal sign has a line equal or a line through it. And then obviously a normal equal sign if they are equal. So until you've done the math, you're going to use this. They use it over here, this question mark over the equal sign. And then in your answer, you're either going to use not equal or equal, depending on if they're not equal or they're equal. So do the ratios 3/5 and 21/35 form a proportion? Notice again that we're using that equal sign with a question mark. So as we set up our cross products, we still don't know if they're equal or not. So we have that equal sign with a question mark. Our cross products are going to be 3 times 35, right? Because top of the first, bottom of the second. And then 5 times 21. Okay, and we had an equal sign with a question mark because we don't know yet. We're going to do that math. 3 times 35 is going to give us 105. 5 times 21 is going to give us 105. So then we can put that regular equal sign in between. The ratios do form a proportion because the cross products are equal. Okay, so these are important versions of the equal sign that you'll be using to kind of show that you don't know an answer yet, or that they're not equal, or that they are equal. So make sure you take note of that. 100 rods is about 275 fathoms. To the nearest fathom, how many rods is 25 rods? So we're just going to set up two fractions, and then we're going to solve to find the missing piece for them cross products. So length in rods. Sorry, 100 rods. So length in rods, 100. Over length in fathoms, which is 275 that they gave us. That's our first proportion. And then they said 25 rods, and we don't know the distance in fathoms. Okay, so that's how we would set that one up. Then we're going to do the cross products. I'm going to do it off to the side so we can set it up better. So 100 over 275 equals 25 over D. So now we're going to do our cross products. So we're going to have 100 times D equals 275 times 25. Worth noting that when we're doing these where we're multiplying to solve for like a variable, you use a regular equal sign the whole way through. 100 times D is just 100D equals 275 times 25 is 6,875. To get the D by itself, so that's all that's left, we divide by 100. So we do that on both sides, because then it crosses out. D equals, if I do 6,875 divided by 100, I get 68.75. So it's about 68.75 fathoms. All right, so let's do the quick checks. So I'll do A with you. So this is just like what we did. So we're going to do our cross product. So we're going to have H times 3 equals 9 times 2. H times 3 is just 3H. 9 times 2 is 18. We're going to divide both sides by what's next to the variable, which is a 3, so that we can do that. And we have H equals 6. Because 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay, so again, using a regular equal sign, set up your cross products. Then multiply. And then divide by number next to variable. Those are your 3 steps. Okay, cross products, multiply it out to get your answer, divide by what's next to the variable, and you get a final number. So go ahead and pause your video and do B and C on your own. and then we'll come back and we'll go over them together. All right, so for B, we have 4 times 55 equals 5 times T. 4 times 55 is 220 equals 5T. Divide both sides by 5 so that all that's left is a T over there, and you get 44. It doesn't matter which set you do first. So like if you did 5 times T equals 4 times 55, and then you solved all the way down, so you ended up with T equals 44, they're the same thing. So it doesn't matter which set of cross products you put before the equal sign versus after the equal sign, as long as you have the numbers paired together. 4 has to be times 55. 5 has to be times T. But you can have them in either order in front or behind the equal sign and get the same answer. So that's what matters. Okay, for C, we have 22 times 21 equals 6. Oops, let's do D times 6. D times 6. 22 times 21 is 462. 6D. Divide both sides by 6. 462 divided by 6 is 77. All right. So let's do A together. Tell whether the two ratios form a proportion and then explain. So we have 6 over 9 and 4 over 6. So we're going to start with our cross products, and we're going to say 6 times 6, question mark, equal, because we don't know yet, 9 times 4. Okay, that's how we set it up. 6 times 6 is 36. 9 times 4 is also 36. So then once we've done that math, we go back and we add an equal sign. And now we see that they are, in fact, proportionate. So we're going to say yes. And the explanation for the explain would be the cross products are equal. So if you got an answer where they didn't have the same number on either side, you would do that not equal symbol, and then you would say, no, the cross products are not equal as your explanation. So go ahead and pause your video and do B and C on your own, and then we'll come back together and check them. All right, so we have 15 times 7, question mark, equals 20 times 5. 15 times 7 is 105. 20 times 5 is 100. So we put that not equal sign between them, and we say, no, the cross products are not equal. Okay, and then for C, we have 7 times 30, question mark, is that equal to 12 times 17.5? 7 times 30 is 210. 12 times 17.5 is 210. So we can put that equal sign and say yes. The cross products are equal. Okay, for this last one, we're using that same fraction from above, so we're going to use this as our first proportion. So ratio. We're going to say 100 over 275, and now they want to know it for 100 rods, so we're going to say x over, or 100 fathoms, x over 100. Okay, so that's how you're going to set it up. So go ahead and pause your video and do the math yourself to see what x equals, and then we'll come back together and check it. Okay, so we have 100 times 100 equals 275 times x. So then 10,000, we should have 4 zeros, equals 275x. Divide both sides by 275 so that you can cross it out and just have an x, and you get 36.36. that repeats over and over. So about 36 rods would be your answer. Okay, that wraps up lesson 6-2, where we were looking at proportions.